And so now we explore the architecture and the color choice in the painting of the church. In the year 609 AD, Pope Boniface IV was given possession of the Pantheon in Rome by the Emperor Phocas. It had been used as a temple to worship the 12 gods of Rome. The name Pantheon originally comes from the Greek meaning all holy, all the gods. In converting this former pagan temple into a church, Pope Boniface made a bold statement of faith, echoing the words of St. Paul. We worship, quote, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. The architecture of our worship space mimics the design of the Pantheon. Just as the Pantheon is known for its oculus, or large circular opening in the very center of its dome-shaped roof, so is St. Pius X. Both churches are also lined along the periphery with round columns and statues of religious figures. Here these figures represent the communion of saints. Thus the architecture of our parish is not only a nod to the oldest pagan temple converted into a Catholic church, but also to the one true God. The garden theme we spoke of earlier continues into the church from the plaza. Located at the altar are 2 green plants. Behind the altar, seen through the large glass windows, there are also large trees that often sway in the wind. Both the plants indoors and the trees outdoors remind us of the Garden of Eden, as well as the garden where Jesus appeared to Mary Magdalene after his resurrection. We too encounter the Lord in this garden, not in his resurrected body as such, but by his promised presence in the Eucharist. In February of 2023, the interior of the church was painted. The color palette was not only inspired by the coat of arms of St. Pius X, which is hanging in the narthex, it also helps to tell the story of salvation history. We begin looking up at the oculus, evoking the beginning of Mark's Gospel, when the Lord was baptized by John the Baptist. Mark says, quote, it happened in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee and was baptized in the Jordan by John. On coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens being torn open, and the Spirit like a dove descending upon him. Mark tells us the heavens were torn open, but he never says they were closed. The oculus reminds us that through baptism we have access to God. The royal blue in the upper level of the dome is evocative of the heavens, as if the glory of God breaks through, shining upon us. As your eyes move down towards the lower portion of the dome, you'll notice a thick golden ring, which is symbolic of 2 things. First, this ring serves as a literal barrier, separating the upper and lower portions of the dome, and symbolically separating heaven and earth after the fall of Adam and Eve. Whereas the upper level of the dome is a heavenly blue, the lower level is a darker shade of bluish gray, representing earth after the fall. As we hear in the book of Genesis, the Lord God banished them from the garden. Secondly, the golden ring is evocative of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. At the center of the basilica sits the main altar, where only the Pope celebrates Mass. Directly beneath that altar are the bones of St. Peter, and directly above that altar is a large dome wrapped in a golden ring with the words, "You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of the netherworld shall not prevail against it. Matthew chapter 16, verse 18. Thus the golden ring inside the dome of our parish symbolically connects St. Pius X in Old Tappan with St. Peter's Basilica, the very heart of the Catholic Church located in Rome. Finally, we look to the space occupied by the choir, the left side behind the altar. St. Augustine once said to sing is to pray twice. And so the sanctuary space around the altar is meant to look like a hill leading up to Christ crucified, but behind the tabernacle to the left, there are those 3 elevated steps serving as the choir area. The choir holds the honor of standing at the highest point of the church because, again, in the words of Augustine, to sing is to pray twice.